Good morning. This is Old Man Coding, and we're about to eat some crab today. And I've already got my screen sort of set up and ready to go. And we're going to dive into Wasm, but more importantly, Wasm by way of Rust. So, um, we are going to first search for the Wasm book. And go to the documentation site. And this isn't a tutorial series. And I don't ever want to make it so. I'm not going to take you through the process of coding up a solution so you understand it for yourself. This is about me faffing about, me screwing around, me making myself look like an idiot, trying to code stuff, which sometimes means trying out projects that I am doomed to fail because I don't have any of the underlying skill set to do it, or it's pretty much like Rust, learning Rust, and the difficulties I've been having getting into it. So, we're going to skip past the whole why Rust and WebAssembly and what is WebAssembly. If you want to know any of those things, hey, guess what? Go read the book for yourself. What we're going to do is go through the tutorial. Now, some of these things I've already gone through. I've already done the WASM pack thing, the cargo generate, and the NPM thing. Um, and then let's do this. Clone the project template with this command and a little copy thing. And let's just clear this way and edit, paste. And then they want me to name it Wasm Game of Life. Okay, done. New project created. Home Chris Wasm Game of Life. Yay. Okay, so what's the next step? Then the cargo toml and live.rs and yada yada yada. And then it wants me to do the next step, which is Wasm pack build. Yeah. Ah. And then we go through compile step for some reason. So why am I personally trying to do WASM? Well, my current project is mainly Node.js stuff. And Node.js has gained the ability to run WASM stuff. And WASM is inherently faster than, you know, bog standard JavaScript. And so, if I can use it to speed up a critical section of my code in my projects, then that's all to the good. So this is all about learning how to do Wasm so I can learn how to speed up my code. Okay, so I did the build thing. And the Wasm thing, and the Wasm Game Alive thing, and blah blah blah. TypeScript. By the way, TypeScript is for people who still need training wheels on their bicycle. If you need TypeScript in order to code, you are not a good coder. So we got the package JSON, and putting it into the web page. So this is the next step. You see, in these instructions, they spend so much time saying, well, this is what this file contains, and this is what this file contains, and this is what this file contains. And it's completely without context. What they should do is just go straight to this step and then explain these files if you need to explain these files. I found that generally you don't. So we go boink, and we take our Wasm blah blah blah, run this command. So we copy the command, npm init wasm app www. I'm assuming that that's good. You got the little Rust crab, and you've got Wasm web, and it equals heart, which I guess heart means love. So love is good. So I'm assuming that the process went well. So and then they go through and explain, comes pre-configured with Webpack and blah blah blah, and then like that Webpack config, and then Wasm Game of Life index, and it gives you again a whole bunch of description of files that I like tutorials where it's like you're actively doing things. And if you need to touch a file for any reason to add, insert, whatever, delete, then it says go to this file and insert this information or delete this information. But if a file is never going to be touched, if it's there simply for the internals of the process, why bother describing it? It's just out there doing its thing. I can't fill your headspace with files that don't matter to the process. So, blah blah blah, index.greet, and then install the dependencies. I wonder why they can't just have done that here, but I'm easy. So just an npm install. Yada yada yada. Bunch of warnings about things I don't give a shit about. And note that Webpack is not required for working with Rust and WebAssembly. It's just the bundler and development server we've chosen for convenience here. Okay. You can also use it without a bundler if you prefer. Listen. All I fucking want is a Wasm file that I can import into my Node project that provides me the ability to call Wasm functions that does stuff. And I realize that they're writing this tutorial for everybody, not just for me, but still, they could be a little bit more concise. It's not necessary to get a Wasm file that can work. I don't really care about the information. I don't care about the contents of all these files. I don't care about your description about the content of all these files. I want to get to a working thing so I can see, aha, this is how you call a function in a Wasm file from Node or from a web page or from anything. That's it. A lot of these tutorials get bogged down in, all sorts of different pieces of information that you will never productively use as a coder. I think they're just terribly impressed with their own knowledge of this particular topic, and they want to let you know they have this knowledge. So we did the npm install. Our web page is now ready to be served locally. Oh wait, we still have npm install. I scrolled down too far. Using our local Wasm Game of Life package in www. Rather than use a hello Wasm pack for npm, we want to use our local Wasm Game of Life package instead. This will allow us to incrementally develop our Game of Life program. Open up Wasm Game of Life www package out. Well, JSON. Okay, so come on. We're gonna load up WebStorm here. And we're going to open home Chris. Let's see here. Yoo-hoo. Home Chris. Oh, there it is. Suddenly it appears. This is one of those things where it's like, okay, Wasm Game of Life, the directory, existed before I ever opened up WebStorm. And yet, it took it, what, 30 seconds for it to appear in this listing? It's like, what the fuck are you doing, WebStorm? You should collect all of the directories and files together before you ever display this directory screen. But whatever. So we're going to load the project. And readme. Use cargo, generate a clone from this template. Build with Wasm pack build. Test and headless browsers with Wasm pack test. Publish 10 p.m. with Wasm pack publish. And it's got Wasm bindgen, console error hook, and wealloc, which I kind of like that. But as says Wasm pack test, and okay, so we're gonna go open up Wasm Game of Life www package .json. So www package.json. Yada yada yada. So yes, we're quite aware. Now it's interesting that there's absolutely no dependencies section here. Now this says open up Wasm Game of Life www package.json, which I did, and edit the dependencies to include this entry. But to edit the dependencies, you actually have to have dependencies in existence in the first place, and it just doesn't exist. So I guess we got to create it whole cloth. But I think that yeah. I think that it is interesting that this package.json never had a dependencies section. But whatever. So we save that. What's next? We go to Game of Life, www.index.js, and change that to Wasm Game of Life. Oops. So we go there. Where are you, index? Oh, I'm starting to get really aggravated with you, pop-up. Okay. So we're here. And we just did Wasm Game of Life. So, what's the next step, Chief? Since we declared a new dependency, we need to install it. So we do npm install. Now, the interesting thing is that they don't say where. They give a good, definition of where package.json is. And even though they say edit, there's no editing. You're adding the dependencies section. But again, a good specification of the path to where you're supposed to get to edit the file. But then it's just, since we declare a new dependency, we need to install it. I'm assuming that we need to run it from the www directory. But I have to make that assumption. They should have explicitly said, in the Wasm Game of Life www directory, run npm install. It's not that difficult to type out that sentence, and yet they didn't do it. It just assumed that you'd think that you could read their minds. This impreciseness bothers me. But let's run the npm install. Blah, 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 blah. Looks good. No, I'm not going to fund your npm packages. You know what? Get a real job. Become a consultant like me and become bitter and angry and earn lots of money. So, next, open a new terminal for the development server, running the server in a new terminal, blah, 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 blah. So, in a new terminal, we want to run npm start. So, view, tool windows, terminal. And Yes, I could learn the keyboard shortcuts for every menu option, for every piece of software I ever do. Um, and then they would have to whack me out with about 1,000 cc's of Thorazine before I claw my face off from having to memorize all the different keyboard shortcuts for all the pieces of software that I ever use. That's not going to happen. You know, if you're a keyboard jock and you say, well, what didn't you know to open up the terminal with all of, I am glad that you have so little going on in your life that you can waste the brain cells to memorize that Alt F12 opens up a terminal. Good for you. For me, not so much. So, whoops. Um, so let's got a little confused there. When 50 years old you reach, remembering which web browser is open, you will not. Okay, that was my bad Yoda impression for the day. So, anyways, now we open a new terminal, go into the www directory, and type npm run start. I assume that's what's supposed to happen. Yay! And then, boink. Okay, I wish that link actually opened up a new window rather than, navigating away from this one, which I depend upon for my very life. So, it worked. By the way, it didn't work last night. I got all sorts of errors last night when trying to run npm run start here. And I was prepared to rant about it in this video. I was going to say, this is bad. The instructions they give are bad and non-specific and bad. And they let me down. They let me down by it actually working. Which means I screwed something up last night. But of course I wasn't recording video. I was just preparing to record this video. Doing my research ahead of time, trying to get prepared. And it betrayed me by working. So let's look here. Modify the greet function in Wasm Game of Life source live rs to take a name string parameter that customizes the alerted message and pass your name to your greet function. So let's do that, because this is how us coders work. Now I just want to point out that while they automate a lot of this, good 99% of it actually, it's still an awfully large amount of files to accomplish these things. So you have to wonder, is all this really necessary? Evidently it's using Rust up. I don't know what it's using Rust up for, but okay. Use away. Okay. Well, the alert here is using a string, a borrow string, as I think of it internally, so I'll just do that. And then so let's let so then we'll do an alert string push push string oh right, because Rust gotta make it mutable. This is one of the things that bites me in the ass 10,000 times a day. Because I come from PHP, Python, Node.js, frankly, even C++, where, you know, when you instantiate a new variable, you know, when you declare it and instantiate it, it's mutable from that point on. And you have to take extraordinary measures, and by extraordinary measures, I mean marking it const, to keep it from being mutable. But in Rust, everything is immutable from the start. And that takes some real getting used to. So, no, we're not pushing it. Yeah, we are pushing it. We're doing hello, and then we're pushing a greeting here, there, and then we're doing the alert push. Okay. And then alert string. It's gonna be a borrow. Alert. Let's, for now, because I don't know what the heck I'm doing, let's do let greeting equals alert string dot as string. And then greeting there. And that should do it. Now, Rust being Rust, I know for a fact that it's going to blow up in my face, because that's how it works. So let's see, Wasm pack build. I guess it's done. Okay. Do I have to do an NPM run start again? Well, that's exciting. I want to point out that there's no real message here that says something went wrong. Nothing here that says that something went wrong. And yet, when we go to localhost 8080, we don't get the hello thing. Oh, I didn't like the... Boy, it really hates me for not having a fave icon. Screw you. But I think I know what's going on here. You gotta end a greet, and then you pretty much have to do that. So let's try. Hey, hello, Chris, to the Wasm Game of Life. It worked. Yay. And so basically, I mean, this is how it's going to be. Small, incremental steps to understanding. And because I sort of forgot about this part, the greet function from inside the index.js, I wasted about 5 minutes because I suck. Let's go on. Rules of Conway's Game of Life. You know, I used to play this game on my old Amiga, where you would input some random pixels all over the screen, and suddenly they would come to life. And it was fun for all of 30 seconds before I got bored. But Gosper's glider gun, they kind of gloss over this. James Gosper was, and I want to make absolutely certain of this, Bill Gosper. You see? Anyways, Bill Gosper was a hacker at MIT. And let me be very clear here. If you think hackers are bad people, you're an asshole. I realize that there's a common perception that a hacker is somebody who breaks into banks and steals your credit card information. And that is That is like saying all women are evil and want to hurt you and steal all your money. Well, I'm certain that there's a small subsection of women who actually fit that description, very small. Um, a majority, a vast majority, a grand majority of women actually are good people just trying to get through life and trying to find some happiness. And so when you call, when you think of a hacker as somebody who likes to break into banks and steal your credit card information or something like that, understand that that's a vanishingly small minority. Most people who are hackers, even if they don't apply the term to themselves, um, are simply people who love solving technical problems. And I'm not just talking about on computers. You can have a person who tinkers around with mechanical stuff in his garage, like Tim the Toolman Taylor is a hacker. Um, or more power, and he fits a turbocharger to to the blender in his kitchen and stuff like that. That's a hacker. Anybody who takes on technical challenges for the sheer joy of seeing what they can do, that's a hacker. Now, as a subset of taking on technical challenges to see what they can do, there are people who will break into banks and steal your credit card information. Um, but just because somebody is called a hacker or calls themselves a hacker, and there's even a sub kind of rule that you're not a hacker until somebody else calls you a hacker, and I actually kind of like that. Um, but Bill Gosper was an Uber hacker at MIT. Um, and he was like one of the first computer programming hackers in existence. Because computers hadn't been out very long before he came along. And at one point, he found on the computer that they're using in their computer lab, um, because computers were so expensive that they could only afford one and they had to share it. And so they'd sign up for, hey, between, 1 and 2 o'clock this afternoon, I get access to the computer. And they literally had to do that. And if they wanted to do any programming outside that hour, they'd have to sit at a table and just laboriously write out code. And then they get to their hour and they'd be like shaking like a leaf. Ooh, I get to test my code. And it would all be about getting the code into the computer, running it, seeing what you did wrong, and then your hour would be over, and you go back to the desk and try to fix what went wrong, and um, and then the next time you can sign up for another hour, you go and you test your code again. I had a small brief problem with the Wasm.greet. I forgot that, oh yeah, I have to put in my name. And um, so um, that cost me, what, 10 seconds? Really? I know it would cost me probably 5 seconds if I wasn't making a video and was talking through things. Um, but in Bill Gosper's time, um, you would have encountered the error I encountered. Hey, the screen went blank and didn't show anything. What's going on? Well, you'd actually have to leave the computer terminal, go to your desk, and um, and fix the problem. And meanwhile, somebody jumped on behind you and took your place, because if you didn't spend every second of that computer's uptime running something, you're literally wasting millions of dollars. Computer time was just that valuable. And what really pissed people off at the time was that while computer time was that valuable, while people were literally, um, like a zombie horde pounding, let me into the computer, let me use it, I have a program I need to run, I need to debug my stuff. Bill Gosper spent so many hours with running the game of life with different pixel combinations, stuff like that. And his goal was to create something that could throw off these little pixel things, like a little pixel gun that would shoot off these little things, and they call them gliders. And he wanted to do it perpetually, so it would never stop. It would never peter out. It would never, it wouldn't just shoot out a couple gliders and then stop or whatever. He wanted this to go on forever, and he spent hours and hours and hours and hours on the game of life on this computer, this multi-million-dollar computer, where every minute, every second of computer time was immensely valuable. And he just sat at the keyboard and input pixels and tried it out and see if he could get the glider gun. So that's why it's called Gosper's glider gun, because he created the pixel configuration that perpetually shot out these gliders, and he did it on a multi-million-dollar machine, while other people were really, really needing that computer time for their own projects, for coding, for debugging. And they were absolutely beyond pissed off at Gosper for his obsession with the game of life. So, anyways, that is that. So, compute by hand the next tick of our example universe. Notice anything familiar? Okay. I'm not going to play your little game here unless it involves coding, and it doesn't. Nope, there's not more coding. I'm here to learn Wasm, not about the game of life. But I would highly suggest that if you're interested in where hacking culture started from, and how it evolved, and if you're a person who loves technical challenges, who loves getting in and thrashing and just slinging code at the editor, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, and learning new things and whatnot, you are at the end point of a continuing line of people that went back to these amazing men. I really wanted to go to Amazon and look for the book. Thank you for bringing me to a completely irrelevant webpage. I appreciate that. So, let's look here. Yeah, there's a movie called Hackers. Fuck that movie. If you have Audible, you can get an audiobook. Uh, but Hackers, Heroes of the Computer Revolution, 25th Anniversary Edition. This, some people have the Torah. Some people have the Bible. Some people have the Silmarillion. But for me, my creation myth, my Old Testament, is that book, Hackers, Heroes of the Computer Revolution. That is my Garden of Eden. That is my book names. That is my Revelations. That is my New Testament. That book is a must-read for anybody who identifies as a person who gets along with technical problems much better than they get along with people. And I would highly recommend this to anybody who managed to stay with me through this video. Because if you made it this far, maybe you're a hacker. But more importantly, I find it interesting that when I did this and typed in hackers, that it didn't take me to Amazon with the search term hackers. It instead took you to a page where Amazon account get hacked. Amazon account was hacked, and how, and so on and so forth. In other words, completely negative stuff. And it didn't even actually give me the search result for the movie or the books named Hackers. It just hacked my account. And that's sort of the society we live in. That if you self-identify as a hacker, that people will automatically think, oh, are you the kind of guy who breaks into an Amazon account and steals whatever, and you want to throttle them? It's that's not what hackers are. That's not what hackers do. And there is a subset of people who identify as hackers, who do bad things. But there's a subset of any segmentation of humanity that will do bad things. That's just being human. So next time somebody says, I'm a hacker, and you think, oh, did you break into any, Amazon accounts today? Maybe think of them with a little bit more charity. So anyway, implementing Conway's Game of Life. So they are going to have us be implementing Conway's Game of Life, which is actually interesting. But I think I'm going to stop here because it's a good natural breaking point, and pick this up tomorrow. So have a good day, whatever day it is, and I'll see you in the next video.